All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving into a super fun and honestly, super chaotic story from the one and only Ruskin Bond. It's all about this little monkey named Toto, and believe me, he brings a whole world of trouble to one poor, unsuspecting family. So, this is the big question at the heart of it all, right? What really happens when you let a super mischievous monkey move in? It's kind of like inviting a tiny hurricane into your living room. Let's see exactly how that plays out. Okay, first up, a mischievous arrival. So where did this whole adventure start? Well, it all kicks off with a pretty weird purchase. See, the narrator's grandfather, who just loves animals, decides his private zoo needs a little something extra. And get this, for just 5 rupees. That's all it cost grandfather to buy Toto from a Tonga driver. He spotted the little guy tied to a feeding trough, looking totally miserable and out of place, and he just had to rescue him. He figured Toto would fit right in with his other animals. Oh, if only he knew. Now, this is super important, especially if you're studying this story. These descriptions are the key weightage words you'll want to remember. I mean, look at this. Bright, mischievous eyes, pearly white teeth that flashed a smile so scary it could frighten elderly ladies. And get this, a tail that was basically a third hand. The author paints this perfect picture of a monkey who looks good, but, you can just feel the mischief bubbling right under the surface. And here's our first big problem. Grandmother. See, whenever she was in a bad mood, she absolutely hated any new pets. So rule number 1 was established right away. Toto's existence had to be a complete secret. They had to wait for the perfect moment to reveal him. Okay, on to the next section. Toto's secret mayhem. This is where we get the first real taste of his unique brand of chaos. And remember, he's still a secret at this point. They hide him in the narrator's bedroom, tie him up securely to a peg in the wall. What could go wrong, right? Well, a few hours go by, they come back, and whoa, the room is a total disaster. That beautiful ornamental wallpaper grandfather had picked out, yeah, it's been ripped to shreds. All that's left is the bare brick and plaster. You could say Toto gave the room a little makeover. And it wasn't just the walls. The narrator's school blazer, it was literally in ribbons. It's pretty clear at this point that absolutely nothing is safe when Toto's around. Now, you'd think grandfather would be furious, right? Nope. This is the hilarious part. He's actually impressed. He's not seeing a mess. He's seeing a clever escape artist in the making. He's genuinely pleased with Toto's mischief. So obviously the bedroom plan was a total bust. Toto gets moved to a big cage in the servants' quarters with the family's other pets. A tortoise, some rabbits, a squirrel. But Toto, well, he wasn't exactly an animal person. He basically tormented them all night. The other pets didn't get a wink of sleep. All right, next up, the great train escape. Grandfather has to go to Saharanpur to pick up his pension, and since he can't trust Toto at home, he decides he has to take the little troublemaker with him. So they come up with this brilliant plan, Operation Smuggle a Monkey. They get a big black canvas kit bag, put some straw on the bottom, and zip Toto inside. The bag's too tough for him to bite or claw his way out. It's foolproof. Or is it? Yeah, not so foolproof. Toto, of course, is not a fan of being in a bag. So on the Dehradun platform, this canvas bag just starts jumping up and down and rolling around. People are staring, gathering around, wondering what on earth is going on. The secret is already starting to unravel. And then, the moment of truth at the ticket gate. Grandfather is about to go through and poof! Toto pokes his head out of the bag and gives the ticket collector this huge, toothy grin. And the ticket collector looks at this monkey and says, "Sir, you have a dog with you." A dog? Can you believe it? So grandfather's there arguing, it's not a dog, it's a monkey, but the ticket collector isn't having any of it. Rules are rules. So grandfather ends up having to pay a 3-rupee fine for his dog. Okay, so moving on to our next section. Kitchen catastrophes. So Grandma finally finds out about Toto, and to everyone's surprise, she lets him stay. Big mistake. Because now that he's not a secret, his world of chaos just got a whole lot bigger. This is where we see just how clever Toto is. Grandmother would give him a big bowl of warm water for a bath, and he had this whole ritual. He'd test the temperature with his hand, step in slowly, one foot then the other, and then just sit there happily with his head sticking out. He was like a little person taking a spa day. But this love of warm water almost ended in total disaster. One afternoon, he sees this huge kitchen kettle on the fire, just sitting there to boil for tea. And what does he do? He thinks it's a bath. He climbs right in, the water starts to get hot, then hotter, and he was this close to boiling himself alive before grandmother rushed in and pulled him out. Just incredible. And that brings us to the Palau incident. This was the grand finale of his reign of terror. It was lunchtime, and Toto finds this huge dish of palau on the dining table and just starts stuffing his face. When grandmother screams at him, he throws the dish at her. An aunt runs to help. She gets a glass of water thrown in her face. Then he grabs the whole dish of palau, scrambles out the window, and climbs a jackfruit tree. He sits up there all afternoon, eating every last grain of rice. And then, just to spite everyone, he throws the dish down from the tree and it shatters into 100 pieces. I mean, that wasn't just mischief. That was a statement. So, the final straw. After the Palau incident, the family finally had to face facts. Even grandfather realized this just wasn't working. Toto had crossed a line from mischievous pet to expensive disaster. And when they actually sat down and thought about it, the cost was just too much. We're talking broken dishes, torn clothes, shredded curtains, ripped up wallpaper. It was a constant drain on their finances. And this quote really says it all. The narrator makes it clear. We are not well-to-do. It wasn't that they stopped liking Toto. They just couldn't afford him anymore. Grandfather's love for animals finally came up against the hard reality of their bank account. And so in the end, grandfather found the same Tunga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. Think about that. He paid 5 rupees for the promise of a fun pet and sold him for 3 after all the chaos. He literally took a loss on the deal. And that's the story of Toto. It leaves us with a really interesting question to think about, doesn't it? Was he just a naughty little monkey, or was he actually too clever, too wild to ever really be a pet? It's something to chew on.